Welcome all to the Tortillas and Takes podcast, part of the 1012 Network. You're on once again with your boy, I'll be sure. And woo, what a game. We back, baby. We back. If you're listening to this and like, hey, what are you talking about, Albie? We were back last week against Oklahoma State. Haha, you fools. That doesn't count. We back. Texas Tech beating the K-State Wildcats 43-20. Once again, wearing down another very good team at the end, thanks to our hellacious defense and a quarterback that just won't quit. In Baron Morton. And to talk about this great win on the road in Manhattan for the first time since 2008, we got the people champ himself, Jeremy Gillen. What's up, Jeremy?
What up, Albie? A fantastic game. One I'm excited to talk about because it threw me through all the emotions. I also was at my cousin's wedding. Obviously, people not of culture because they scheduled a fall wedding, which is the worst time to schedule a wedding. But you know what? I went and I paid attention. I watched only during pre-ceremony and post-ceremony. During the ceremony, I put my phone down. I was respectful. But it felt like the longest ceremony I'd ever been in because I was like constantly thinking about when I check the score, what is it going to be? But a great one. Really had a good time with this. And we are now at 8 wins, which if math serves me right, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, we're pretty much tied for last year. We got 8 or 9 wins. 8 wins?
Got 8 wins last year.
So, and we got a couple games left on the schedule. So you're having a pretty good year, Texas Tech.
What you're saying is in normal Texas Tech fashion, we would lose the rest of the season.
That's right.
No more wins.
That's right.
We'd be done.
That's right. And then they'll mock us for time immemorial about how we wasted $28 million.
That's right. That's right. Because all that matters really is the money that was spent, not the development of the players, not the fact that we have the best defensive player in the country, the 2 best edges in the country. No. It's all about the money that was spent. That's it. If you ask fans of Kansas State Wildcats, they have never spent money on their program. Everybody in their program is nice and holy, and does it for the love of the game.
Love of the game.
That's it. So let's get into it. Let's get into this game in Manhattan, Kansas. That had us all nervous. Let's face it, Jeremy. We were all pretty nervous about this game. Right? Not that we didn't necessarily trust Texas Tech, right? But we've lost 8 straight to this team. We haven't won in Manhattan since 2008. This was, a prototypical trap game with the BYU game looming, right? And you're going up against a quarterback. The last time we played them, he scored 5 rushing touchdowns against us and said he should have scored more, right? And he really wasn't lying either. And this was a team that was a lot of people's picks, including myself, to win the Big 12, right? So, this coming into this year. So I think we were all a little nervous because we also not to mention they were figuring it out. I mean, last week they put the spanking on a okay Kansas team in Lawrence. And so you're looking at them and like, man, this is a pretty bad time to play this team. They're figuring it out. They got it kind of covered. And yet we came into this game, and not to mention, game starts, we throw an interception right off the bat. Let me tell you something, Jeremy, as we kind of think about the first quarter, right? We throw an interception off the bat off of, I know people like to say I make excuses for Baron Morton. Wasn't a great throw. But I mean, sometimes fluke interceptions aren't something that I look at a quarterback and I'm like, oh, that's why you stink. That's just, whatever. But that happens. Then Avery Johnson later on after Bryce Pollock. First of all, Bryce Pollock's interception right after that. Great job by Bryce Pollock. It also reminded me why Avery Johnson has struggled all year. Because Lord Jesus, what an awful decision. First play of the game. I'm watching that play, rolls out to the side, ducks under a defensive end, throws it on the money, and it looks beautiful until you see where it's going. Right? When he puts it on film, it's going to be one of those plays where you just cut it off before it gets to the receiver.
That's right. Look at his mobility. Look at how he got it out of there. All right, next play.
Because it looked beautiful. It looked beautiful until you see that he threw it into quadruple coverage.
Right.
It was oh my goodness, what a ridiculously dumb decision. But anyways, Bryce Pollock with the interception, but again, we don't do anything with it. We punt it. They score a touchdown right after that, and Avery Johnson runs almost 50 yards to the house, looking like 2023. And Then we get a turnover on downs, and Jeremy, I ain't gonna lie to you, it's spooky. I do not feel great about this game at all at this moment, especially after that weird sack from Baron Morton where he decides to backpedal for 10 yards before taking a sack on 4th down. Yeah, very spooky. I didn't like it. Wasn't a fan. We punt again to end on a 3-and-out. We get no yards right after that. And yeah, it's 7-0 at the time, but it felt so much worse.
It looked like 2023, felt like 2023. And even worse, we had just gotten to Wichita Falls, and my family, some of the Texas fans, one of like my great aunt was a Texas ex or whatever, and they're enjoying their win over Vanderbilt. All right, let's put Jeremy's Red Raiders on. And here I am talking them up. You guys will be so like, this is a good team. Like, I'm excited for y'all to see this team. I am no longer excited for y'all to see this team, dude. Oh my God. And I mean, they're like, "Ooh, that was a bad pass. Oh wow, no, that was not a good choice." And their commentary is haunting me. And I'm like, Matt Leftwich, what are we doing? You're embarrassing me in front of my family. That was terrible, brother.
It's always hilarious hearing you talk about watching games with your family because they're always like, "Oh, Jeremy's cute little Red Raiders." Like,
can we win something big so they can shut up? Just like, we have a good team. I promise.
I promise you. I promise. This is we're right there. It's like, "Aw, Jeremy, he's so cute." Watching his little Red Raiders.
That's right, dude.
But the first quarter was, man, it was rough. I'm sitting here, I'm watching the game. Me, just like you're watching with your extended family. I'm over here watching the game while youth soccer's going on. So like I'm watching on my phone and I'm just like, man, this is just not. It's spooky. Like if I don't watch the rest of this game, I'm thinking we lost.
Right.
We lost by multiple scores because we were getting really outplayed at that moment. I would argue both offensively and defensively. Not great overall, and it was a game that was playing right into K-State's hands. We've seen the first quarter. We've seen that game play out so many times in this series, right? And so it definitely did not feel great. Second quarter starts, and a pretty good drive, I would say, by Baron Morton in the group, right? We start working in some Cam Dickey, and you were talking about him in the preview pod as far as how important it was to get Cam Dickey going. We start working at Cam Dickey. Great pass to Terrence Carter starts showing up on the field as well there early in the second quarter. And that pass to Terrence Carter that goes for 30 yards, those 30 yards gets them right into a decent spot. And you're like, man, that Terrence Carter. Oh, thank God he's back. Thank God he's back. He's good to go. Cam Dickey with a couple more rushes. But once again, we get to the 5-yard line and another bad sack and has to set up for a Stone Harrington field goal. And once again, we're feeling like 2023. Or not even 2023, like just every K-State, Texas Tech game ever. Right? But Jeremy, there was one difference that happened immediately after that field goal.
What was that?
You don't know what you want to know what happened right after that field goal?
What happened?
K-State had the ball. The best player in the country.
That's exactly right.
Forced to fumble.
Jacob Rodriguez has to be one of the best. His ability to put eye on ball, put fist on ball, has got to be studied by defensive coordinators, by future linebackers throughout history. I don't know if it's a credence to his time as a quarterback, if it's just like he's got this higher IQ for the ball or anything like that, or if he's just a dog. Because, I mean, every time Jacob Rodriguez is going after the ball, it seems like he causes some shuffle, some shift in possession. But incredible. And nothing to say. I actually want to back up a half a second here. That the first quarter of this game, it causes a lot of grief for me with play calling. Did it not feel like Matt Wells had decided to take a celebrity pick and just come over and start like calling plays? Let's run it right at the middle. It's not working. Let's try it again.
Let's try.
You know what? Let's just throw the screen. Hey, we got a couple yards. Let's throw that screen again. They will never see it coming. and just kind of and I tweeted it out almost. I mean, half-heartedly, but it kind of resonated as the game, as that first quarter continued. Was I felt like Mac had played the QB3 playbook when a QB1 came back in. And I was like, why are we not taking more shots downfield? Why are we not, opening up the running lanes here? Why are we still running inside and not running outside? Because we talked about it on the preview pod. Hey, man, Jacoby Williams, awesome. Good choice because we can get him outside the tackles, outside the box. And what did we not ever do? We did not do that. So obviously, Mac Leftwich doesn't listen to the pod. Thank you for confirming.
No, yeah, he does.
But anyways, that first quarter was really difficult to watch, and it made me feel honestly that we were regressing in a lot of ways. And this defense, I mean, everything I'm critiquing here is not on the defense. Let's just be honest. This defense, and I'll let you continue here, but this defense is otherworldly, dude.
Well, let me ask you this. So from that fumble, 5 plays, great pass, I think, from Baron Morton to Reggie Virgil to get us back down to where we were just a second ago. And then we start getting in, right? We're using Jacoby Williams, some more good run up the middle, right, to get to the 1 yard line, and then pounding it in from Cam Dickey. I think that's when we started seeing, because right after that, the next drive, with only a minute 30 to go, we get back down the field a little bit, get us at least to the 36, where Stone Harrington has the leg of strength to get a 55-yard field goal in at halftime. Beginning of the year, and it's funny, we didn't even mention the fact that we had a mixed extra point. But the beginning of the year,
I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, we talked about
Doink City
kicking being a weakness.
We did.
It has not been a weakness this year.
And I wasn't even worried when they said the yardage on that one.
Yeah, I mean, okay. And it's not really because of our transfer from Buffalo. It's more because Stone Harrington's been amazing, right?
He's a stud.
He's been great. And so with that, we go from down 7-0, where all is lost, to up 12-7. And I got to say, you're right about how we felt before that, before the fumble. But Mac, 2 drives in at least, play calling gets a little bit better, gets it down the field to score a quick touchdown because of the short field. In a minute 50, gets it down the field to get the field goal range, and then we'll talk about the second half. But it seems like Max, he's figuring some stuff out.
But let's talk about this though. We, at the end of the half, Coach McGuire didn't wait. We had a lot more time on the clock when we had possession, and Joey just like let it sink down. No timeouts, no nothing. Did that befuddle you at all? Did that, for me, and I tweeted it out, and I don't feel bad about it, but I felt that was very much loser behavior to not push the issue and trust your defense and try to get press on moment, press the momentum. Why would you not try to continue to press the issue when you've got a little bit of stuff going your way and you decide, you know what, I'm gonna kind of let this thing run out, and then we'll just kick it and get our field goal.
He hedged his bets a little bit. You're right. He wasn't as aggressive, but see, at the same time, he wasn't as aggressive in making sure that he's seeing what we can do to try to get a field touchdown or save as much time on the clock to do this. And he hedged it a little bit to where just in case our offense doesn't get it, we want to make it to where there's no time left. I completely understand your point in that. However, for the last 3 years with Joe McGuire, our biggest complaint, at least on this podcast, has been slow your roll, buddy. You're a little too aggressive. Right?
Fair,
some of the clock management stuff, some of the decisions on fourth down, some of the things of hey, man, sometimes you got to make the regular decision as a coach. And this year and last year, he started doing this too. But which is he's made just the normal decisions. He's not, I think a lot of it the first couple of years is that it's almost like I got to do such aggressive things as a coach to give our team that much more help.
Yeah,
I think last year and this year he's just I just need to make the normal regular decision. So yeah, I agree with you that he hedged his bets a little bit offensively, but it's as a coach, I just don't want to get in their way. I don't want to get in their way as far as let's take the points here because I trust with the 5-point lead going into the second half will be good enough to make it happen. Right?
Yeah.
Because flip side, what if we don't? What if we're not able to get into field goal range? What if we end up giving it up and we give them a shorter field with a minute, with 40 seconds to go? I think is what it would have been. Right? Then we're giving it back to them. And yeah, we can trust our defense as much as possible, but you don't want to put them in crappy situations either.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, there's always two ways to look at it, and I think
Yeah.
the outcome really justifies the middle. Like nobody's talking about that anymore. At the half, a lot of people were talking about it, but after the fourth quarter, nobody was talking about that. So,
And I'll also say this, like, so one of the things I saw from a couple K-State accounts. So Chris Kleiman, if you don't know, a lot of people in K-State fandom are very split on Chris Kleiman. Right, a lot of people recognize Chris Kleiman as a good coach. Right, he's had a couple really good seasons for K-State, but as K-State has had the first struggle bus season of the Chris Kleiman era, especially in a year where they were predicted to be, I mean, I had them as the winners of the Big 12, right? Like a lot of people did. One of the favorites, and they just they're 3-3 in conference right now, 4-5. They're going to be fighting to be bowl eligible, and so the K-State team is split. One of the things that I saw from a couple accounts, not just one but two actually, from K-State side, which is Chris Kleiman, how dare you get yourself outcoached by Joey McGuire in this game? Mm-hmm. And they say it in a way of there's a
of
narrative.
All people.
Yeah, I haven't just seen it in K-State. Like I've seen it in a few teams and fan bases that have this thought and belief that Joey McGuire is not a good coach. Like he's just kind of a crappy coach, right? And I think a lot of it is to some of his clock management blunders he's had in his first couple of years, and especially like the decision to go for it on fourth down and stuff like that. Like there's been, like don't get me wrong, there's been some games where you look at it and say, man, Joey, what are you doing? Like that's happened. We've talked about it here. But because of that, there's almost this inane belief from some Big 12 fans that don't come to Texas Tech that, oh, well, Joey sucks as a coach. The only reason why Texas is winning is because the talent on our roster's gotten better. But they downplay some of his decisions that I think, in my opinion, have been positive, especially this year and last, primarily, where he has kind of taken a step back and let things happen. And then also, I got to give Joey his credit, as I've been arguing some people on Twitter the last couple of days about the fact of that most of our starters are not transfers. Most of our are not off-season transfers. Most of our starters were here last year. The development, I think I would argue, I don't want to go that far, but other than Leach, Joey might be the best development coach and coaching staff we've ever had. Like the players that were here since their freshman season, or even a year ago, get so much better. Like if you'd have told me Jacob Rodriguez, who was a quarterback, would be the best linebacker in the country, I would have laughed at you. If you'd have told me that John Curry would have end up being just this incredible player, I would have laughed at you. If you'd have told me so many of these guys, right? Like the development of some of these players is amazing. And you got to give Joey and his staff credit. Caleb Douglas has gotten so much better. Cam Dickey in 1 year.
Yeah,
remember when we were talking about him?
Back up the Taj,
he was unplayable at times last year.
Yeah.
He was unplayable at times last year. And then this year he's just amazing.
That's right.
Like stuff like that. You got to give the coaching staff, led by Joey McGuire, who's the constant, his credit. You know what I mean? So
that's right.
But there is that narrative that he's not a good coach, but the proof is in the pudding. This 4-year stretch is the best 4-year stretch, one of the best 4-year stretches in Texas Tech history. And I can have my qualms about Joey, but hey, facts don't lie. And he's actually, with this season, trending even better than Leach.
I can see that. Yeah. I can see that. Yeah. That's not surprising at all at this point in the season. Absolutely not. No.
Yeah. All right. So, Jeremy, we're sitting at 12-7 at halftime. We need momentum. K-State got the ball back. They're still, if you're a K-State fan, you got to feel like, all right, we're down 12-7. It's a one-possession game. We got the ball. We're good. We're Gucci. But then something happened, Jeremy. First drive of the game. Fourth play of the second half. There goes that man.
There goes that dog.
Another forced fumble. That's actually Jacob Rodriguez's 7th forced fumble in the year. He is one away from the school record, which Dwayne Slay has. Mind you, Jeremy, Dwayne Slay actually had in 2005 the 3rd most forced fumble in a season in NCAA history.
Wow.
Or at least since they were recording it. And so Jacob Rodriguez right now is tied for 5th ever since they've been recording it. So, and he's only 4, so he's 3 away this season from Elvis Dumerville's record, which was 10 in the season. He is 4 away from the career record, Now, funny enough, the career record that was won by Red Murdoch, who our real name is Khalil Murdoch, who plays at Buffalo, who is still active, mind you. So Red Murdoch just broke Khalil Mack's NCAA record for
Yeah.
career forced fumbles literally Saturday. Funny enough. And so he has 4 more than Jacob Rodriguez. He also has a year more of actually playing the position and able to do it, but it doesn't matter. He has 4 more than Jacob Rodriguez. So Jacob Rodriguez right now has the ability to break the single season record with, I mean, right now, we have 3 more games to go.
Yeah.
And in a regular season anyway. I mean, I don't know if this counts in the postseason or not, but with the regular season. And then he also is 4-way in his career. So very crazy stuff going on. But 2 in this game, 7 in his career, 1 away from the school record, 3 away from the NCAA record. He's been absolutely amazing.
And there is no reason that he shouldn't be talked about more nationally. And I know that there's this big push to have him in this conversation, in the Heisman conversation for sure. And I think there's actually some credence to that if you start weighing him against, like, Manti Te'o is the best example for a defender who it's like he is having a Manti Te'o season with 3 games left on the schedule. Like, he can surpass Manti Te'o in a number of significant stats. And it's like, if Manti Te'o finishes runner-up, why is Jacob Rodriguez not even in the conversation? Because the Heisman being an athlete, a superb athlete that dictates the success of their football team. Manti Te'o embodied that as a defensive player. How does Jacob Rodriguez not, right? Because without Jacob Rodriguez, I couldn't tell you how the season would look defensively.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you got a great defense, but he has led to so much, like, reverse momentum in Texas Tech's favor. You know, the forced fumbles and interceptions, right? He has constantly been at the forefront of Texas Tech's defensive surge this year, which has led to our overall success. So I think that he needs to be in larger conversations. For that play in particular, I thought it was absolutely fantastic for Cole Wisniewski, who recovered the ball. He ran straight over to Jacob Rodriguez and threw it in his chest, and they both celebrated like they had won the lottery. Like, this is just the culture of this defense is just so obviously good and unbreakable. Like, these guys are just having the time of their life. And that's bad news for anybody who's lining up against them. I'm sorry.
So I will say, and I've mentioned this for the last week at least, that the campaign is cool and all, but he has no shot at the Heisman. No. If we want it, this is a wide open Heisman race, I will say. Right, it's still very quarterback heavy, right? Like Julian Sand from Ohio State got a lot of pub this last week for it. I believe Fernando Mendoza, the quarterback for Indiana, is the likeliest to win it. But Marcel Reed from A&M is getting some looks. Ty Sampson from Alabama. This upcoming week, and we'll talk about it later in the preview pod. But this upcoming week for Jacob Rodriguez, I almost guarantee there's going to be a segment about him on ESPN. Maybe him and his wife, maybe just him. I don't know. But it's going to be a segment about him. Joe McGuire is probably going to talk about him. The ESPN team is probably going to talk about him and how great he's been. If he has a great game this upcoming weekend against BYU, that's when the Heisman campaign will seriously begin. You know what I mean? Like, that's when people that watch the game, people that hear about him, talk about him, and then let's say he has a similar game to what he just had against K-State, that's when they'll start truly being, okay, we got to start thinking about this guy as a Heisman. That's when those comparisons between him and Manti Te'o will mount. Because I love seeing those comparisons because Manti and Ndamukong Suh are probably the 2 closest we've seen in recent memory to a defender getting a Heisman. And Manti and Suh came in like 5th. Manti came in 2nd. And those are the closest. So if you start seeing him compared to that, then you're like, oh, okay, well, maybe. And it starts with the BYU game. And it'll end, hopefully, fingers crossed, with the Big 12 championship game, right? And so those are the games where he needs a big game. This game against K-State was nationally televised on Fox. Your boy RG3 commentating it up, right? But that was a big game at 2:30 on Fox, prime time. I mean, you were talking pre-pod as far as the best time slots for games. I personally think 2:30 is a great time slot for a game. And so if what I believe is true, then 2:30 on Fox with that broadcast team, he showed up and showed out, 2 forced fumbles. And those calls start getting a little bit louder. especially in a year where, again, what if Julian Sang takes an L? Mendoza takes an L, right? Reed doesn't look impressive. What if Chambliss from Ole Miss doesn't look impressive? Then it's time to let the guy who might set the single season record for forced fumbles in a year take over. So yeah, it'd be absolutely incredible. So right after that fumble, Jeremy, we were talking about Mac Leftwich before. Again, great field position here in the midfield mark. But the guy I talked about in the preview pod, Jeremy, Jacoby Williams, does it again. He does it again. What a great run. Those little shifty jukes moves that he makes, right? Also, best touchdown celebrations week in and week out. Whether it's the Martin side hump, whether it's the motorcycle, like, it don't matter. And that touchdown, I think, was so important because it from that moment on, K-State was an arm's length away, right? Now, they were continually punching right there, but you kept them an arm length away instead of them being right beside you. It was like, all right, you're still there. We still feel you, right? Like, K-State scored a touchdown right after that with another Avery Johnson touchdown run. But and a really good pass down the middle to Brown, which they talked about in the commentary that he caught the ball and spotted where Jacob Rodriguez is, and it was like, no, not you. Let me go the other way. You know what I mean? And so, but great pass, good run by Avery Johnson. But from that touchdown on, Texas Tech was able to kind of have firm control of, all right, I know we're right here, but we just got to keep you an arm's length away. And even with that field goal right after it, we're 8 points up and we're looking good.
Yeah, I can't complain. I think going from Avery Johnson's running for his life all over us to making them slow down and containing a lot better and forcing Avery Johnson to use his arm, which actually proved what has been somewhat of a strength this season, has actually proved to be pretty crappy for the most part. And we were worried about our defense having a hard time, defensive backs having a hard time kind of measuring this, Kansas State wide receiver by committee. But I think they did such a great job in coverage for the most part. And some of that, especially here in the third quarter going forward, Avery Johnson really started to slow down. He did way too much, way too early maybe, but just the relentlessness of our passing rush, like their pass rush, it's the worst pass rush. It's probably the worst pass rush they're going to, or the best pass rush, worst experience that they have to experience all season. So good news is that it's over. Bad news is that Avery Johnson had to live through it. And I think it really started to wear him down in that third quarter.
Well, so the following touchdown after that is it's probably the best drive they had all game, right? But to your point, I think, which is, just in general, you can have a good drive against this defense. Nobody's telling you can't. You're not going to have multiple. You're not going to have very many. So after that, 8-play drive that to get them back to, they were down 15 at that point. They're going to 8-play drive, and they decided to go for 2, which drew a lot of ire from K-State fans, right? If you haven't seen it, it's actually a new thing that's becoming more common when you're down 15, right? Specifically, and or you score a touchdown, you're now down 9, and you decide to, instead of kicking the extra point and being down 8, you decide to go for 2. And and if you go for 2, if you don't get it, you got it. It's a 2% game. You get it. It's a 1%. It's only down 7. And so a lot of coaches have been doing it recently, NFL and high major football. I am not the biggest fan of it, only because. So the argument is that if you go for it now, you'll know what you need for the rest of the game.
Yeah,
right? And I get that argument. I really do. My argument has always been, regardless, you know what you need. Like, if you kick it, like if you're down 8 in the final stretch of the game, you need a touchdown and an extra point regardless, or a touchdown and 2-point conversion regardless. Like, this is not a question of, if we don't get it. No. If you're down 8, you got to get it. There's no question of whether, if maybe so, or yada yada. You got to get it. So in this scenario right here as well, right? They decide to go for 2 now, and it's like, okay, well, we didn't get it, so now we know we're down 9. Dude, now you're down 9.
That's right.
Now you're down 2 possessions. Now it feels so much more insurmountable.
Yeah.
right? And so that's just my opinion. But like, so I get the reason to go for it early. I don't really agree with it. It doesn't make too much sense for me.
Yeah,
But
I
now they're
think
down
I've
9.
had this. I've had similar critique commentary for hours. When we've made similar mistakes. It's just like for me, I'm just take the points guy until it becomes to that point in the game where it's like I've got maybe 2 drives left. For me, just take the points.
Yeah.
Take the points, live to fight another day, and then even if it's dinking, like just field goal, like taking a field goal instead of pushing the issue. I'm such a conservative armchair coach like that. It's like armchair coach like that it's just for me. It's take the points. And here I completely resonate with K-State fans. Frustrations of like in what you're saying. I mean, the math checks out. Get the 1 point. You're down 8, which means you can do the 2-point conversion at the end, make it exciting. But now you're down 9, and you're telling your team, "Hey, we have to do this," and then do something else.
Yeah.
Like your victory is not complete. Even if we get this and a 2-point conversion, we still got to do more. And it's just, oh my God, like that's, you're trying to rally them for this multi-series, victory lap. And they're in the back of their minds, they're like, oh my God, like I'm going to give it all on this drive and I'm going to be gassed for the next drive.
Yeah. Well, I'm not saying it made this much of an effect. Like I still think Tech wins by
ultimately didn't matter. No, ultimately, no.
But I'll say this though, right? So like the next few series, because Tech's offense kind of struggled here at this point, right? The next few series for Tech was the punt. We had that fumble that from Cam Dickey right after that. We punted again, and each time K-State got the ball, and each time you're on a 4th and 1 at midfield at the 50, you got to go for it, right? Because you're down 2 scores. And you don't get it. It was actually a terrible play call, and they don't get it. And then after the fumble, once again, it's now 4th and 7 on the 29. If you're down 1 possession, you punt that ball away and you try to play the field position game. But now because you're down 9 and you're not down 8, you say, "Oh well, we got to go for it on 4th and 7 from the 49." Like it affects you too. If you're down 8, you say, "Let's play the game." Right? Let's figure it out. And so I don't agree with it. And I would argue that, being down 9, I think affected how their offense, not just how their offense played, but how their offensive play calling was. And we all know Matt Wells can't stack success. Give him a little bit, baby. Come on now. Don't ask him to stack success. All right. He's been trying to do that for years. All right. Make it easy for him, Kleiman. So down 9. Again, now the time is winding down. He still got the ball. Avery Johnson bounces back. He rolls out to the side, and he says, "Oh, no, Jacob Rodriguez is not around me. I'm fine, right? Right? No. Unfortunately for you, there's Romello Height, too. You forgot about him. He forces a fumble on Avery Johnson. Avery Johnson does this thing where he just lies on the ground. He's just like, you know what, this football thing. It's enterprise hiring because this football thing just ain't working out. And so John Curry picks it up, scores a touchdown, game's over. Right after that, not too long, Avery Johnson again. Woo, buddy, what a throw. We talk a lot about quarterbacks in this conference that like to force things. Devin Dampier likes to force things. Sawyer Robertson loves to force things. Noah Fafita sometimes loves to force things when he's behind. Avery Johnson, buddy, when he's behind, hey, Captain force it. Like, goodness gracious. So that interception to Ben Roberts where he's like, "Hey, Ben, I see you, linebacker. Here you go." Those are right to him. And then right after that, beautiful throw right over the middle, right over to the side to Caleb Douglas. Another touchdown. Let's go home. 43-20. Big W's in the chat. We eating dubs. It's it's all great.
That's right. And I think the thing that this game helped make concrete for me was how different this team is in terms of, and you tweeted it so aptly, but in our existence of fandom, really it's been Texas Tech's got the game in hand and it loses its steam at the end and other teams rush back. Hell, it's been the story of this series with Kansas State for as long as I remember of hey, we were doing pretty good. And Kansas State's playing a calm, consistent game, and we just shoot ourselves in the foot, and they take advantage at the end. This Texas Tech defense somehow hits another level in the fourth quarter. every team we've played, we win. Every team we've won, every game we've won, even in the Arizona State game, like this defense steps up in such a way that like it's almost blood in the water. As soon as I saw Avery Johnson, like 4 drives before the end of all things, he's got his hands on his hips and he's looking at the sideline like, man, I do not want to do this anymore.
Oh, dude. The fourth quarter.
I clocked him. All right, this is it. You're cooked,
bud. Yeah. That's a great point. This was even before the fumble. In the fourth quarter, Avery Johnson was like, man, I got to go out there again. I'm so sick of them. I'm tired, boss.
I'm tired, and he's not been the only one this year. They took Devin Dampier out for the same reason. They have quarterback after quarterback after quarterback Connor Wegman, he didn't want to play half the game, right? It was it's like, buddy, this defense, when they are bred for war, because Romello Height, David Bailey, they see Avery Johnson being exhausted. They're like, bet. I'm coming right for you. I got you. Yeah. I got you. And it makes them excited. And then they go even harder. Like, our defense just plays incredible football in the fourth quarter. And that is what, like, across the board, championship level teams have a defense that is there the whole game. And I remember was it the Arizona State loss where Shield Wood in his presser said, I don't care if we're playing 50 snaps or 150 snaps. We have one job as a defense to do. And that is what we do. And like, just that mentality that, man, I hope we got to keep him for at least one more year. But that mentality that comes to our defense from that pedagogy, is like, that is championship level stuff. And to see it happen. And the nice thing is to see, coaches always have coach speak of like, this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to implement. This is how it's going to, and do you see it always play out like that? No, usually not. But with Shield Wood, he has been cut and dry. This is what we're doing, and this is how we're going to win football games. And we have seen it happen in real time with quarterbacks being like, Avery Johnson is the face of quarterbacks this season against Texas Tech's defense. I'm gassed. And you want to say Sam Levitt, man, he torched the defense. Buddy, Sam Levitt is done for the year. And part of that reason is because he wasted himself on that Texas Tech game.
Well, people forget about the Arizona State game because they remember that last drive where Sam Levitt was able to take them down and win the game there. And all props to Sam Levitt, all props to Jordan Tyson, all props to that offense. We forget in the fourth quarter, Tech was down 12. You forget in the fourth quarter, up until that drive, Arizona State offensively was struggling against this defense. So props to them for that final drive. But Tech defense and offense, for that matter, was able to really come back after wearing them down in that aspect. So, like, even the game we lost, that still shows and reigns true, right?
Yeah.
So great win by Texas Tech. Right up there with Utah as far as most impressive wins of the season.
On the road again.
Yeah,
McGuire
right up there.
Doing great on the road.
Yep. So absolutely great. Not to mention another thing to kind of call out: Texas Tech won this game 43-13 in the last 3 quarters.
Yeah.
So it's great performance there. Absolutely great. Baron Morton, 21 for 32, 249 yards, 2 touchdowns. Baron Morton. So one thing I want to say about Baron Morton real quick. Obviously, Graham Harrell and Pat Mahomes are the 2 greatest quarterbacks in Texas Tech history. That's not really we're not denying that. It's pretty obvious. Baron Morton, however, is writing his name amongst that second tier of amazing quarterbacks, amongst the BJ Simons, the Cody Hodges, some of the legendary quarterbacks from yesteryear that have really forged their names amongst the greats. And I think Baron Morton has, he's what he's done, right? I'm gonna say durability. I know some people may laugh at that because he does get hurt a lot. He gets hurt a lot, but he doesn't get injured a lot. 2 very different things. Injured means missing games. Last 2 games we talked about in the preview pod, Oklahoma State game almost doesn't count because he could have played. Arizona State, depending on what our situation was, he might have been willing to play as well. Last year, plays every game in the regular season despite being hurt. Year before, could have played more games despite being hurt. So he's hurt a lot, but when rubber meets the road, he'll show up and he'll play. So when we talk about that second tier, right? So you got Harrell, Mahomes, Kingsbury. Those are the big 3 in the top tier, greatest quarterbacks ever in Texas Tech history. We know that. But that next tier, right? That tier with Billy Joe Tolliver and BJ Simons and Zebby Lethbridge and Seth Daggy. Shout out to my boy Daggy. That is, I think, the tier. Sonny Cumbie, that's the tier where it's time to write Baron Morton's name at, right? Because that's how good he's been. He's right now 5th in Texas Tech history in passing yards. He'll likely get up to he'll likely pass Daggy, who's 4th in both passing yards and passing touchdowns. He'll likely pass Daggy. I don't think he's passing or coming close to the top 3, but he'll likely solidify his name as 4th amongst career passing yards, passing touchdowns, all the passing marks in Texas Tech history. And it's time to give him some flowers while he's here. I mean, he's done a great job bringing us back to prominence. So shout out to Baron Morton, especially as he did come back. And now the beauty of this is because of, whether fortunately or unfortunately, some other things that have happened, no more people talking about it. I think now we shouldn't ever hear the word of, oh, if only he wasn't playing again. Number 2 is the guy, and he proved himself he's the guy. Had a really good game in this one. Jacoby Williams, 17 carries for 135 yards and a touchdown. My dog, back at it again. Cam Dickey, 21 carries, 68 yards and a touchdown. Caleb Douglas, 8 catches, 82 yards, 2 touchdowns. Terrence Carter, back from injury, 4 catches, 81 yards. Reggie Virgil, he's been kind of quiet last couple games. He kind of came back nicely, 5 catches, 72 yards. Defensively, Cole Wisniewski once again on a tear right now. 6 tackles, 2 tackles for loss. And a fumble recovery. John Curry, 6 tackles and a fumble recovery. That bad man, Jacob Rodriguez, 5 tackles, 2 forced fumbles, a tackle for loss. Bryce Pollock, 5 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, a fumble recovery, and an interception. Ben Roberts, 3 tackles, a tackle for loss, and an interception. Great man. Just a lot of big guys doing great things overall. Who was your offensive player of the game in this one, Jeremy?
Probably Jacoby Williams for that long rush. That really kind of set the tone for offensive production after that. So Jacoby Williams for me, just grinding it out and kind of finding the space and making the most of it. Huge stiff arm, by the way.
Jacoby Williams was absolutely fantastic. I'm not going to go on a soliloquy about Baron Morton and not give him my player of the game. I think he, again, didn't make mistakes, calmed us down, let things happen. Good job from BMO. Defensively, who was your player of the game? Timeout.
If it's
not named Jacob Rodriguez.
If it's not named Jacob Rodriguez, I think that I don't know. I want to say maybe Cole Wisniewski was good, but maybe Ben Roberts or John Curry. The linebacking, and side note, I don't know if you saw the post game.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, you know what? We're all going to do this together. And they're sitting at the, that table all together, all their mustachioed linebacking crew. Ben Roberts stepping up. I would say Ben Roberts stepping up in a bigger way at the end of the game was a surprise for me, because John Curry for me was like, yeah, John Curry and Jacob Rodriguez are really picking off each other. Ben Roberts is still like, yeah, I'm still here, guys. Like I still produce when I need to. So I'd like to give it to Ben Roberts.
Yeah, it's gonna be great to see Ben Roberts next year when he's his tag team partner is not here anymore. But I think it's also going to allow him to flourish even that much more. Ben Roberts overall. So I got to give it to Cole. You actually kind of mentioned the other 2 guys who are in the running, both Cole and John Curry. John Curry had a great game, probably the best game of the season for him, getting himself on virtually every aspect of the stat sheet. But Cole Wisniewski, man. Oh, dude, he played such a great – and he's been on a tear lately. Like I said, Early in the season, I kind of questioned him a little bit. But he has been on a tear lately. He's been playing really well. And especially since, if you notice, there was one drive where K-State really attacked the secondary all the way to a touchdown. And was going after him. Went after him, went after Bryce Pollock, went after Amir Boyd. And they were able to score a touchdown off of it. And it was almost like he was like, no, not anymore. That you had your fun? Cool. We ain't doing this anymore. And really shut that down as well in the secondary overall. So shout out to Cole Wisniewski. That's really all over the field. Him and John Curry, both of them, seem to be everywhere. They're at the line and running game and a run play. They're all the way back defending on deep pass plays. They're laterally quick. They're just Cole Wisniewski and John Curry just seem to be everywhere on the field, and it is absolutely amazing. I do want to give a shout out to one guy on Kansas State real quick, Austin Romaine. He was a tough one he was a tough cookie to crack. Linebacker for Kansas State. He had a really good game. 11 tackles for him, half a sack, half a TFL. Like he was. I'm gonna give credit where it's due. Austin Romaine. We talked about him in the preview pod as a guy we got to watch out for, and I heard his name a lot, especially in the first half. Had a really good game. So I got to give credit where it's due.
This is his best game of the season, stats wise. So he definitely showed up. He's only a junior, so buddy, if you're looking for somewhere to go, your senior year.
Hey, let me tell you something, Austin Romaine. Your fans think that y'all are a bunch of broke boys. All right, that's all I've been hearing. This is how Texas Tech has all this money. It's not fair. Well, Austin Romaine, you heard them. They ain't got the cash. All right, and apparently we pay everyone. So Austin Romaine, you know where to come.
Get your money in. That's right.
Yeah, we'll have a spot. We'll have a spot for you. So Texas Tech, big win, 43-20 against the Kansas State Wildcats. Jeremy, we were not the only team that played this weekend.
I'm so glad you said that.
We're not the only game that happened this weekend. Other games did happen. And so in the Big 12. So let's start off with the other big game this week in the Big 12. The Cincinnati Bearcats. Now, Jeremy, I got to give you a lot of credit here. All right? I'm going to give you a lot of credit here. You were other than Cincinnati fans, other than Viva La Cats, friends of the pod, and also part of the 10-12 network. Nobody else really came into the season big on Cincinnati. All right. You have been big on them from the start. Season preview, you were like, watch out for Brendan Sorsby in Cincinnati. I think they'll be good. And they have been good. They've been undefeated all the way up to this point. They've been, every time we do a Big 12 roundup, you're like, man, this is a good team. Watch out for them. They're a good team, so on and so forth. Belt to A, Jeremy, against the Utah Utes. They got whooped. Capital H. They got whooped. 45-14 in Salt Lake City. And you know what happens with the Utah Ute fans, man? Once they get a big win, they're kings of the castle. Like,
I know you've seen it. I know you've seen
They're the best team to ever exist. All right, like it's like, hey, ignore our 2 losses. The 7 wins is all that matters.
We're still the best team in the Big 12.
Yeah. Ignore the 2 teams that beat us and the fact that they're still top 10 teams. Ignore that. We're the best.
That's right.
But I mean, Cincinnati did get whooped in this game. I don't know what's worse for me anyway. How badly Cincinnati lost, or that I wasn't surprised.
Yeah, I think there was an element to this that Cincinnati really hadn't. Again, and I said this, that like depending on the outcome of this game is going to write how Cincinnati's season is viewed. So you can look at, remember back in September or whatever, they beat Iowa State, 14th ranked Iowa State, 38-30. And people were like, hey, man, Cincinnati, a little bit bigger than we thought they were. And then the close game against UC, but like 7 at the time, 7-1, 5-0 in conference. And they were looking good. And we were like, hey, if they beat Utah, this is justifying their whole schedule. Well, they got mollywopped by Utah, buddy. So now you're looking at the rest of the schedule like, yeah, UCF, Oklahoma State, Baylor, Kansas, Iowa State. Those guys suck. They all suck, and so does Cincinnati. For me, I mean, the whooping was crazy, but I think Cincinnati's a team that this is not – listen, because we won at the Res doesn't mean that it's easy to win at the Res. And I think that Texas Tech fans need to grapple with that. I think Utah fans need to grapple with that. I think Cincinnati fans need to grapple with that. It's a tough place to play. It's at a crazy stadium. And they had them at night, which we did not. Yeah, so that's even worse, right? Great team in Utah. Yeah. I had never said they weren't.
Yeah. And I also think the Tech fans have given Utah their credit, and the fact that they are a good team. They just, lost to 2 better teams.
And that's okay, Utah fans. That's okay.
And that's okay. I will say one thing that did surprise me is Sorsby really played the worst game of his career.
He did.
Man, he struggled. He fell into the trap of being Forsey McForce pants, and he just started really pressing, really feeling like I got to do this all on my own, and it just was not good.
Yeah.
I started seeing him in some first round mock drafts and things like that. This game's going to be tough, man. It's going to be a hard one to overlook on the tape when NFL scouts are looking at this. Is a really rough game overall. So
still everything ahead of them though. I mean, they got 3 games left. One is against BYU, and they got Arizona, BYU, TCU. But there's a world where Cincinnati finishes 9-10 wins even. So it's like, you can't count them out. They may have a bounce back game, or they may just fall apart. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're Cincinnati, the season, like the Big 12 championship game is still in your hands, right? Like they actually right now, Cincinnati wins out. They're in the Big 12 championship game. It'd be if they went out, it'd be it'd be the winner of the Tech BYU game against them. So to your point, everything is still all ahead of them. There's really no need to fluster, but 31-point loss cannot feel good. The game you were ready to talk about is a certain team that plays their games only 45 minutes away from my house. Had a football game at their stadium, a home game against a 2-win team, and they were ranked. And Jeremy, I would tell you the final score of that game, but nobody was around to see it.
Damn.
So the Houston Cougars lost to West Virginia 45-35 in a game that was truly embarrassing for all parties involved, unless you're a West Virginia fan. West Virginia came out and really Scotty Fox Jr. and Rich Rod and them.
They found their quarterback, man.
Oh, yeah. Well, not only did they find their quarterback, dude, West Virginia had control of this game the entire game. The entire game. Because the thing about it is that Houston kept coming back. Like, West Virginia punched them in the mouth to start the game. Houston kept coming back. It's 21-21 at halftime. And my thought was always, even when they were down 21-7, that, okay, Houston's doing the whole Oregon State thing where they play terribly, they catch up, and they win a game that they have no business winning. Right? And when they were tied 21-21 at halftime, I was like, okay, West Virginia, this was all fun and cute. But you're not – Houston is able to win games they're not supposed to win. They're definitely not going to lose this game against a team that they're better than. West Virginia kept punching, kept going. And Houston made every mistake imaginable. Hey, you want to give up a kickoff return for a touchdown? Cool, we'll do that. Hey, you want to give up deep passing plays? Okay, cool, we'll do that. Deep running plays? Okay, we'll do that. Hey, do you want to give up fumbles? We'll do that too. Hey, do you want to give up a ball on a punt that goes off of one of our punt protectors' back heel to give the ball back up? We'll do that too.
We'll do that too.
Like, Houston lost every single way you can lose this game. It was embarrassing. It was absolutely terrible. And to make matters worse, dude, I remember I didn't even notice how empty the stadium was. I was so watching the game. Let me tell you something. It was second quarter. I was watching the game, and I heard defense, and I'm like, wait, that's weird. Connor Wegman has the ball. Why am I hearing defensive chants on my TV screen when the home team has the ball? Right? Like, nobody was at. Last time I made a comment, and it wasn't even a joke. It was just a comment about, hey, Houston fans, like, y'all have a really – it was when they were hosting Arizona. Y'all got to do better. It's a good game. It's Arizona. They're a decent program. They're from they're a Power 4 program. Like, y'all got to show up. And I heard, how dare you? It was hot. It's not fair. People were passing that. Dude, let me tell you something. This weekend in Houston, it was nice, cool, and breezy. We had a cold front coming last week. It was a good 70 degrees outside. Stadium was empty. Y'all are a ranked football team. Stadium was absolutely empty. Embarrassing. And, and they got whooped for it. And so, it's terrible. What are your thoughts on this nastiness?
Look, just at this moment, we were ready to say, Houston, you can be our rival. You got to go and lay an egg against West Virginia. No, I think this is a huge – this is a great victory for West Virginia. This is a great illustration that really you have to be on your A game. Unless it's Oklahoma State, you got to be on your A game because like every team here is looking to. West Virginia is like was looking for answers. So many like halfway through this season, and finally got their quarterback in Scotty Fox Jr. I just think Houston didn't really respect that. I thought that they're in their mind that's saying, well, no big deal. Like it's just West Virginia. They're 2-6 or whatever it was at the time. No big deal. And West Virginia, took that personally. So Houston, good team, has a lot to do in terms of getting ready for games like this. Because the thing that like will get you in the Big 12 is not being prepared against the teams that you think or you're supposed to beat. Because those are the ones that want to. Same thing happened to BYU last year. They've lost that Kansas game. And that's what kept them out of the playoff, remember? It's like you have to get up for every game. You have to find a way to get up for every game. So big win for West Virginia. I really hope they got their quarterback here in Scotty Fox Jr. It certainly seems like they do. Definitely a dual threat guy for them. But Houston, maybe next week will be a lot better since you got all the bad stuff out of the way this one.
I will say this damn game definitely felt like a game where the Houston players did not respect the opponent. I think that's really the fact of the matter is that's what it was. They just they looked at West Virginia and said, "Oh, this team sucks. We're just going to go out there. Hey, look at us. We beat Arizona State. We're big and bad. We're Houston. We're only 7-1. Yeah." And they just didn't respect West Virginia at all. And now you see, dude, listen, you ain't playing Tulsa anymore, man. Like you got to respect everybody that you play. You can't do this, and you got to show up. And both fans and players, and they just didn't. So, and as far as them being in the lounge, they out. Come on.
See ya. Get the hell out of here. We just carded you. You don't belong.
Remember in The Simpsons where the bar Moe, they out.
Except in that meme, Barney's right behind him.
Yeah, no, but he ain't. Houston ain't behind him. They out. They ain't coming back. All right. Colorado. Also
another team that will be way in the parking lot.
Kick him out the conference.
No.
Just kidding.
Oh,
excuse me. Colorado, man. Losing to Arizona 52-17, and buddy, the honeymoon is over for Coach Prime. Pat Shurmur has been the scapegoat for this team all year. Last week's game, I was texting it to you. Last week's game probably solidified that Pat Shurmur would no longer be here next year. Man, this week's game, don't be surprised if we see that Coach Prime has to leave for quote unquote health reasons. Now, I'm not saying that Coach Prime doesn't have his own health reasons, but this may be a mutual split as far as this is concerned. He's not doing well. He has no ties to Colorado, no ties to anything there. I was watching Bomani Jones' podcast, kind of talking about it a little bit of like, had Deion gotten the TCU job, he might be more inspired because he lives in DFW. He knows a lot of these kids in the area. Like he has a connection here. There's no connection to Colorado. His sons are gone, and his adopted son in a way, Travis Hunter, is also gone. So and it's just not working right now for anybody involved. Finally, Julian Lewis got a chance to play in this game, but Julian Lewis, who was on Slam Magazine as the youngest ever appear on Slam Magazine way back in the day, was supposed to be like a blue chip All-American prospect. He looked bad, and it's not really his fault. The team looks terrible, right? Cash Cleveland, who's starting in the game for us started for us in this past game in Manhattan, got to be looking back, being like, "Whew, I got out of there."
That's right.
Colorado just looks awful right now. A complete 360 from last year. Last year, I thought they were a wildly good coach team. When they played us, I thought they really were fundamentally sound. This team is the exact opposite of it. I don't know what to tell you. Arizona just put BTA, just Noah Fafita looked really good. Ismail Maidi played really well as well with his huge 68-yard carry all the way to the house. And this defense, best defensive performance of the year for them.
Coach Brennan No, Fafita, they were exercising some demons against Colorado. They had wanted to win a lot of games this season that just not have panned out, and they made sure that they applied all that pressure to Colorado. There was no moment until the fourth quarter, pretty much, of like, I'm gonna let up on you. It was like, I'm just gonna keep hammering because this feels good, and it should. Arizona played an excellent game. Colorado, oh boy, you guys have them long. It's gonna be an interesting offseason for Colorado.
Absolutely. Absolutely. One guy that might have pushed off his offseason plans, at least another week, is Dave Aranda, as Baylor was able to beat up on UCF quite a bit, winning 30-3. Defense played really well in this game. It also helps Dave Aranda that more people keep getting fired. This is Baylor, Kentucky, some of you teams. This is not the year. Wait, this is not the year. Too many. Right. The block is way too hot. Too many people, too many teams. But Baylor played really well. And nowadays, I always know when Baylor plays well, because when they don't play well, the entire fan base comes on Twitter and talks about how terrible Dave Aranda is and how everybody should go. When they do play well, it's just quiet. But Sawyer Robertson kind of came back to form. Still 40 throws for him, I think, is a little too much. You ask me. There's in a game where you're winning 30-3, he doesn't need to be throwing the ball 40 times.
Right.
You know what I mean? Caden Knighton did get 21 carries in this game, so good for him getting over the 100-yard mark. But yeah, good win against a team that's not very good, but beating bad teams is still part of it.
It's still part of it, so go Baylor. I was wrong on my pick, so you're lucky, Aranda.
You made it one more week, buddy.
You made it one more week.
Doug Meacham just out there with vibes right now as Oklahoma State goes to Kansas. Oh. And you know what? They covered. They only lost by 17. They covered. Hey, that's for Oklahoma State, that's all that matters. That's a win. Listen, a big believer in there's no such thing as moral victories unless you suck. Good moral victory, Oklahoma State.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
It's the most points they've scored in a long time. Yeah. So gotta feel good. And you know what's funny? Kansas's offense, I mean, it's always hard to judge teams against Oklahoma State. Like, I want to say the Kansas offense didn't play great. Jalen Daniels, 13 for 19, only had 6 carries on the ground, right? But, they still scored 38 points. I guess there's something in that. But only a scenario, I think, where one thing I'll say is Zane Flores was back, so I think that helped Oklahoma State a little bit. Sure.
Right? And so it helped Oklahoma State a little bit. But a fact that, to my surprise, we're starting the fourth quarter, and it's still a game. All right, they're only up by 10 points in the fourth quarter. So Oklahoma State's got to, feel good about themselves. The fact that in the fourth quarter you're playing, and it's like, man, we're still in this.
Yeah,
we still got a shot. All right,
hasn't felt like that since week 1.
Yeah, no, facts. So good for them in that regard. Other big game this weekend was Arizona State at Iowa State. Big-ish. And Arizona State, a lot of credit. You find out before this game that Sam Levitt is out for the year. Jordan Tyson is still not playing in this game. You're without the best receiver in the country and without one of the better quarterbacks in the country. And Jeff Sims, the backup quarterbacking company, come in on the road against the team that people thought was going to be a Big 12 favorite, Iowa State, and won. Big win for Arizona State. A lot of props to them. A lot of preps to Kenny. This is, a lot has been made about Kenny Dillingham and how good of a coach he is. And I'm not going to lie to y'all. I kind of think it's been a little overstated. This was a game that I was like, no, Kenny Dillingham, good coach.
Yeah, Arizona State, Iowa State had every reason to win this game because Arizona State spotted them over a football field worth of penalties. They gave up the ball a couple of times, and it just felt like this was Iowa State's game to lose, and they found a way to do it. But but to your credit, I think that Arizona State pulled through the times that they needed to pull through and ended up with what they ended up. I mean, you can't give up 500. I mean, they gave up about 500 yards. Iowa State gave about 500 yards up to Arizona State without their 2 best players. Like, that's on you, Cyclones. That's on you.
Well, and not to mention, I mean, Arizona State, dude, you're 30 seconds left to go in the game. You're down 5. You need a touchdown. Some of these play decisions, some of these passes by Rocco Beck, that 4th down call at the end of the game, where you throw it short of the first down. Like, what are we doing here? You got to score. You know what I mean? Like, even if you get there with 16 seconds left, if you would have got the first down, dude, you only got 15 seconds to go, and
Right.
you're on the 20. What are we doing here? It's just a lot of it didn't make much sense. And this Arizona State team and season, you know, it's actually funny because after K-State lost that game to Iowa State to start the year, the thought was is Iowa State good team, K-State bad team, right?
Yeah.
And they but since recently, I mean, I know K-State just lost, but they've kind of gone in opposite directions. Jeremy, do you know Iowa State's 2-4 in conference?
Yeah.
I was very
so
surprised
good.
to find that out. I was very surprised to find that out. I was like,
it doesn't
wow.
seem right.
No, it does not seem right. Yeah. So, and it's funny. Every year that there is thought that, man, maybe this is the year Matt Campbell leaves for another job, he has the worst year of his career. You notice that? Like when nobody's talking about him as a candidate for a job, great.
He's thriving. Yeah.
But whenever it's like, man, Matt Campbell's about to leave, then he has a terrible season.
I mean, he lost to Colorado.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
It's like losing Oklahoma State at this point.
Yeah, basically. So as we think about the lounge, so before we go, we're already past the hour, but if we think about the lounge real quick, right? As of right now, I think it's safe to say if you have 3 conference losses, you don't have a shot at getting to Arlington. It's very unlikely. Is it possible? Yes, but very unlikely. Right now, there are 7 teams that have 2 losses or less in conference. So, to me, BYU and Texas Tech are in the national championship VIP area, right? I believe Utah's not there yet, but with the way they end their season, they may be able to get up to the VIP. There is still Cincinnati, who we mentioned is in the lounge, right? The Contenders Lounge. Houston, Arizona State, and TCU, right? So between Arizona State, Houston, and TCU, do any of those teams deserve to be in the Contenders Lounge?
Arizona State, Arizona, TCU?
Arizona State, TCU, and Houston.
Oh. I mean, I don't see why Arizona State shouldn't be. Unless this game against Iowa State's a fluke. You know, I think they proved that they found a way to win, which is what good teams do. But I'm not comfortable because they also, Sam Leavitt and Jordan Tyson are out. So I'm like, well, how good is this Arizona State team? What are they? I mean, who do they have left to play? Like they've got West Virginia, Colorado, Arizona. I mean, if they can't beat West Virginia and Colorado without, Leavitt and Tyson, okay. Arizona would be a really big game to end the year, not having Leavitt, especially for that game. That's going to be a big one. So, but I don't think that Arizona State's got the gas in the tank to finish out to be a contender. I just don't.
So, what's funny about this? All right. So, to me, we kicked Houston out. I don't think they're a real contender. Their end of season record. This is actually the easiest of the Final 4 games. So, like every game from here on out, you got to, even a game against UCF, you got to be like, well, if they lost to West Virginia, they can lose to anybody. So, I don't think Houston's it. Arizona State's a tough one because if Sam Leavitt and Jordan Tyson were here, they'd absolutely be a contender. It wouldn't be a question.
Right.
But they're not. And so I look at the rest of their schedule and I say, well, the rest of their schedule, even with Jeff Sims, they could win all those games. Yeah. And maybe that does get them into the Big 12 championship game, right? Especially because one of their wins is against Texas Tech. But do you really think they would win that game if it's against Tech, if it's against BYU, if it's against Utah, even against Cincinnati? I don't think so. So, are they really contenders, right? It's not the Big 12 appearance contention. It's winning the championship. And so I struggle with that. This is one team, though. We talked about them last week of being on the door. And they're still on the door because they didn't get to play last week. But TCU, man, Josh Hoover's a good quarterback. We've seen what Sonny Dykes can do in certain situations. Their only 2 losses right now, they got whooped at Kansas State, and they barely lost at Arizona State. All right. They have a game at BYU and then against Cincinnati and at Houston. They'll be able to prove themselves. The Final 4 games aren't easy. I'm not willing to put them in the lounge just yet. So right now in the lounge, hanging out, we got BYU and Tech in the VIP. We got Cincinnati and Utah in the lounge. To me, I think Arizona State and TCU are right outside and hanging out. They got to prove themselves a little bit more before we put them in the lounge. Arizona State might not be able to prove themselves in the championship game. I don't know. I don't see it. But TCU, I don't know. We don't have to, let's see what you do in the next few games before we put you in. But that's the contenders there. 8th ranked BYU at 9th ranked Texas Tech. College game day coming to town. Woo! It's gonna be a fun one. Jeremy and his pregnant wife will be there in person. Should be a great time.
On game day, sitting down.
Look for them. Look for them. I'm excited. Biggest game in Texas Tech in 17 years. Should be an absolute great time. Jeremy, anything else you want to say to the people?
I mean, this is the biggest game of the Big 12 this season, I think. Just what it's come down to. And it was always going to be something at the end of the season. That's how it goes. But this certainly is like the biggest game of the Big 12. Huge implications here. It's going to be really exciting. Excited to preview this one. BYU giving interesting TCU 2023 vibes. But, we have an infinitely better team than we played against TCU. So be a fun one to talk about.
Yeah, no, absolutely. This is going to be a fun one to talk about overall. Also, another underrated piece that nobody's talking about is the fact that the CFP rankings come out next week. So this will be the last game before the CFP rankings come out. So that'll be very interesting. Oh, actually, wait, no.
They're coming out on Tuesday.
Coming out on Tuesday. Sorry. Coming out on Tuesday. So this will be a game that we'll see the rankings. We'll know what they really are before this game to see where we match up from the eyes of the CFP. If you're the Big 12, you I believe you put all your eggs in a 3-bid basket.
Yeah.
Right. Whether that actually happens or not, I don't know. But I think Texas Tech, BYU, and Utah all have legit and real qualifications of saying all 3 of us deserve to be in the college football playoff. Mm-hmm. Right? BYU and Texas Tech is pretty easy to say why we deserve to be in. But even Utah can sit here and say, like, hey, guys, we lost to 2 top 10 teams. Like, we've whooped up on everybody else. Yeah. We've beaten every single other team by 31 points. We just lost to the 2 best teams, 2 top 10 teams, right? So if you're the Big 12, you should be pushing them forward, all 3 teams. But if the ACC, screw y'all, that conference.
You don't even deserve an auto bid. That's terrible.
Oh, goodness. Yeah. SMU beats Miami, who's the kings of the conference right now, one of the best teams in the conference. SMU is a team that lost to Baylor and TCU. Baylor is fighting for their bowl lives because of the conference they play in. Right? Like, get out of here. It's ridiculous. But yeah, the Big 12 should be fighting for 3 bids. 3 bids. Mm-hmm. They're not going to get a 4th. And I'm sorry, Cincinnati, but you may have to be the sacrificial lamb to get us 3 bids. But yeah, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, preview pod coming up this week. Very excited for this one. It'll be a great time. But for the People's Champ, that is Jeremy Gillen. This is your boy, Albie Short, and you have listened to the Tortillas and Takes podcast, part of the 1012 Network. As always, stay wrecked, people.